How well do we really know the people that we see every week or every month? We know their name, what they do for a living, but we don't really know them. So I'm going to ask people who they are, and I'm going to let them tell us whatever they want us to know about them. So this list is going to be called Who Are You? Hey everybody, look who it is. Tell the people who you are.
I'm Kenya.
Okay, tell the people who you really are.
I'm a nurse, a mother. I'm a daughter of a mother with mental illness, and I am an autism mom, but I'm a survivor.
Okay, all right. Tell the people about your story.
Everyone has a story, and no one ever knows what a person's story is. My story starts with, as a child, I've always been told, whatever happens behind closed doors stays behind closed doors. And that's where my life began. At a young age, I was molested by my mother's second husband. And it kind of went on for a while. And when my mother found out about it, we kind of left that situation. I remember in the middle of the night, my mom just taking what we could grab and leaving the house. Her second husband was much older than her and basically a predator. He went for a younger woman and a younger woman that had a child. So when the abuse stopped with my mom, it began with me. As time went by, you just kind of figure this is something that happens to everybody, and it kind of goes into a Rolodex in the back of your mind, and you forget about it or you put it away. But from that day, I knew I was a survivor. I didn't know how hard my life was going to be from there. A lot of people, they judge me from the outside looking in, but they don't know who I really am. I don't share much of myself with anyone, and I kind of stay to myself. I let people know what I want them to know. As I got older, I kind of realized I was a daughter of a mother with mental illness. She was a functioning drug addict. She kind of hid it from everyone. She had a very good job. She had her degree. She was taking care of myself and my brother. And as time went on, she became a little worse with her addiction, to the point where she actually attempted suicide by overdose with pills. And it was something that didn't happen once, didn't happen twice. It happened about 4 times. And I then knew I became the protector. I made sure my mom was taken care of. I made sure my brother was taken care of. And none of our family knew what was behind our door. As I got older, being the protector came with a lot of responsibility. I started being the second breadwinner in our household because sick days became more frequent with my mother. She wouldn't wake up. She was going through depressed episodes where, I made sure my brother got out the door. dinner was made, bills were paid, and I kind of think that started when I was around 14. First suicide attempt was, with pills as well. That was her, go-to. So we kind of would just nurse her through it. No one ever knew. A couple of days later, she would be back into her routine and going to work, and we'd be doing the same thing we were doing, but I knew I wasn't a child anymore. The last attempt was a little bit more dramatic. It was where she took a bunch of pills and tried to shoot herself. And when she tried to shoot herself, the gun jammed and didn't go off. And when it jammed, I had to leave my mom there and call 911, and I took my brother and I left the house so we wouldn't go into foster care or be separated. Once the ambulance came and got her, we came back to the house and just kind of lived our life like we normally did. I made sure he was going to school, made sure every meal was made. He didn't know the difference. Family members didn't know. And finally, I had to call my aunt and let her know what had happened. But no one was able to take us in. And I refused to go anywhere else but our home. I had a job as a waitress. I still went to school. And I made sure bills were paid. This is something I've always done. My brother never knew what happened, just that Mom wasn't here at the moment. She was sick and in the hospital. As my brother got older, he kind of started to understand, but still didn't know the full gist of what everything was happening. Friends and family started calling me his mom. I was the one enrolling him into school when the next school year came around, and he stopped looking at me as a sister and more as a mom. We were 7.5 years apart. We didn't have that growing time together. So that's what I did. I became his mother. As my mom got older, the mental illness was controlled by medication, and the medications were for bipolar and depression. As things went on, she became better. And she always, I'm not going to take away from her being a mother, because she always made sure we were taken care of. But we weren't always first on her list. So, having that survival instinct, we had an opportunity to go live with an aunt in California. That's where we originally grew up, and we always made it back to Oklahoma somehow, some way. And going back to California was kind of a familiar ground for us, because we had more friends, more family, more connections and resources out there. My mom stayed here and remarried for a third time. My brother and I went to go live with an aunt, and my aunt was in the military, so it was very regimented, very controlling atmosphere. And, once again, I became the survivor where my brother suffered abuse. He would wet the bed and he would have to sleep in the bathtub with no sheets or pillows. I would sneak in the middle of the night and make sure he was, warm, taken care of. He had food to eat. And before anyone else got up in the morning, I would come and take all the covers and blankets away so neither one of us would get in trouble. And that's part of our survival. We finally came back to Oklahoma and had to live in the house with our mom and our new stepfather, who was a drug dealer. And this was, by this time I had graduated from high school. During this time, I decided, okay, well, I'm going to college. And it was a hard thing for me to do because I had to leave my brother. But I couldn't be in the household anymore because I was being abused physically by my stepfather. He tried to prostitute me out and to gang members. And being the person that I was, I left. And I was able to make it through without having any further harm, I guess that's what you would call it. But went to Langston. Langston, my first year, I couldn't even make it through college because he told my mother to cut off all financial assistance to me. My mother told me basically, babe, I can't help you anymore. But she slid me a pair of keys and she says, you know what you need to do. And my stepfather owned a liquor store. So, hopefully I don't go to jail for this, but I became at Langston in order to pay my tuition and, have food to eat and make it through. So, it's like if anyone needed, they came to me. But that's part of being a survivor. I finally left, and my brother kind of resented me because I wasn't there to take care of him. And the one time I came home to visit my mom, my stepdad actually was getting ready to raise his hand to hit me. And my brother, I believe he was maybe 15 or 16 at the time, jumped in front of me and hit my stepfather. And I don't know if you guys remember those old curio cabinets. My mom had a bunch of Waterford crystal. And when my brother hit him, he just kind of went through the cabinet, and we thought he was dead. I told my brother to get in the car. We were on the road and headed to Texas because I didn't want my brother to take the blame for killing my stepfather. I called my mom at work and told her what happened. She convinced us to come back, and my stepfather never told anyone what happened, just kind of that he was drunk and fell through the cabinets. And that was kind of it for my mom. She told him he had to leave. And without a fight, he left. So I wind up flunking out of Langston because of the stresses that I had at home and not really being able to keep up with, financial aid payments, and the tuition was very overwhelming. and still trying to, provide for my brother from afar. So I believe around the age of 22, I was diagnosed with ovarian cancer. I had polycystic ovarian syndrome and had been treated for that several times. The doctors basically kind of let it go on and just said, oh, it's a cyst, there's nothing more. And finally, doing a biopsy, they came back with results that, to me, was almost devastating, because these results would say I would never have kids, I would never have a family, and I refused to take their advice, which was to have a total hysterectomy and basically no longer make me a woman. Because everyone's told, hey, I can't wait to have, my mom said I can't wait to have grandchildren. I seen friends and family, with their kids. And what do you do when you can't have kids? So I decided I think I need to be away from my family. I moved to Connecticut. I packed up everything that would fit in my Ford Explorer, got on the road, had a full ride to University of Bridgeport for chiropractics, and started a new life. Got married. Then one day we decided, hey, we would like to have kids. Went through the long process of infertility, and we did the Clomid, taking pills. It was getting ready to get to the point where the day before I had to go to the fertility clinic in order to have in vitro done, the nurse called me and said, don't come into your appointment. And my heart just dropped. When she told me why, I was literally ready to fight this lady, because I said, don't play with me. I've been told all my life that I could not have kids, and now you're telling me that I'm pregnant. So my first daughter was Zoe Nevaeh, and Zoe in Greek means life, and Nevaeh is heaven spelt backwards. So she was our life from heaven. My middle child was through infertility, and I think my body got its act together, and my third daughter was an oops. So we survived that, and survival has been everything that I've done. I've been the caregiver. I've taken care of my mom for almost 17 years now. I take care of my family. And sometimes, it interferes with my life goals, because I think I'm a natural caretaker. I'm an advocate. My youngest daughter is autistic, and I want her to be treated like any other child. So I make sure that she's taken care of. She's not in any special need programs because she's capable and she's able. But if I left that up to someone else, they would put her into a situation that she would never be able to progress. And I think part of being a survivor is that no matter what your struggles are, you're always able to overcome, and you will be the best fighter for you. So that's why I'm a survivor. You asked me who I am. Whenever you see me, I'm always smiling. I smile to keep from crying. That's my survival mode. I am a survivor.
Let's start
That's
over.
fine. That's fine.